Another day, another day, another day. Okay. So I want to get on today and I want to have this discussion, right? Because it has been, it was a crazy Monday, which I expected to be. I expected to be endless conversations on Will Smith and Chris Rock and it's going to go on for a good couple weeks until something else hits the news circuit where you're going to see Will and Jada's relationship measured in every capacity, Chris Rock's joke measured in every capacity. How far should comedians go, and what is going on with Will and Jada? You're going to have every aspect of their lives analyzed to see what can be done. And, this is what happens when you have fame and you make a mistake. And I think we can say that they made mistakes because they both issued apologies. So my question to all of you watching, first of all, thank you for watching. But my question to all of you watching is this. How do we use this information? How are you going to use this information? How are you going to take what you saw at the Oscars and have a conversation with it? Because as many of you know, I'm a professional counselor, right? So what does that mean? It means that I counsel people who are in need of help, and I do it as a profession. It's what I do. This is exactly what I do. And I do this every day. And I enjoy doing it, but I'm also an educational consultant, which means I work with young adults, young men right now. I'm building my young queens. Uh, that's a future program. But I work with young folks as an educational consultant because I still like to, in limited capacities. I'm not going back in the classroom anytime soon, but I do like having conversations with young adults because they're still young enough and naive enough to be able to input some information to be able to help them make better choices, right? So, my question to you is how are you going to use the information from what you saw, what you've heard from the other night? Because I know for me, it's it's given me a lot to go over. I had already I already have Will Smith's book um, in queue as a download. I haven't had a chance to get to it yet. It's on the list. I got a vast list. I'm trying to go through all the books that I'm trying to read. Right now, I'm reading David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. He needs a hug too. But one of the things that I do as a professional is I pay attention to all the things going on in the world because I know people have a vested interest in people they don't know. Yeah, I said it. People have a vested interest in people they don't know. And because of that, I have to know what's going on in the world, have an understanding of what's going on in the world, and then be able to incorporate that into the counseling sessions to be able to help them get past whatever they might be dealing with. So for me, I'm going to use this information from Sunday this way. One, I don't believe comedians should be censored. So even though I don't think Chris Rock's joke was the best, I don't think comedians should be censored. I don't have a problem with comedians being comedians. And are they going to tell some jokes that are insensitive? Mm-hmm. Are they going to tell some jokes that hurt? Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem with that, especially if I know who the comedian is ahead of time. So I know to buckle up and I know to be ready. And everybody on the planet knows you sit at the forefront at a comedy show, you are a target. But what we have to be careful of, and I said this in other videos, is that we have to be careful in how we embrace insensitivity in certain situations. To me, a comedian is going to do what he does. So is there going to be some sense of insensitivity? Yes. And you have to guard yourself against that. I got it. But when it's nasty negative attacks, that's where that line is very, very thin and very, very gray for some comedians. Like, how far is too far? And I think what has to happen is you won't know until you do it as a comedian. But the thing that I like is that Chris Rock apologized. And I think that's all a comedian can do. If you tell a joke that you thought was funny and it bombs or it hits the wrong way, I don't believe you should be canceled. I believe you render the apology and keep it moving because it was a joke. Now, this is where I believe on the other side of the coin, even though I believe that we've gotten very insensitive. I think we have become overtly sensitive in other areas. And these are some of the things that I'm going to be paying attention to and looking to help in my counseling sessions because I think we've gotten away from individual freedoms. We've kind of sank into a mob mentality. Agree with us or don't work at all. Believe what we believe or move. Do what we tell you to do or have nothing. No, we can't be that sensitive. And the reason why I believe we've become that way is because we stopped coming to the middle to have conversations. Everybody has kind of retreated to their corner. I refuse to do that. I do. Do I see anything just one blanket way? No. I'm a Christian. Trust me, I go through this on a regular. I'm a Christian and I'm in the middle. And I get some Christians who criticize my behavior, my language, my dress, the way I play, who tell me that's not godlike or that's not godly and you're a man of God and you should dress this way and act this way. Okay. Okay. There's the mob mentality for you. And we have to be very careful when we get pushed into corners because then the only thing to do is fight your way out. So I'm going to use the information from this weekend, have conversations with people that may not feel the same way I do, to hear them out. Like, I've listened to the conversation that Jada was wrong because there's videos floating around now of her saying, I don't care how people feel about my bald head. Oh, then why are you tripping over a joke about G.I. Jane, whose hair happened to be short, but the movie was a solid movie, and the character Demi Moore played in the movie was a strong woman that had to overcome negative situations? Why was that a problem? Or did you actually have a problem with Chris Rock? See, we're never going to know. We also don't know what was said pre-Oscars. We don't know what's been said since 2016 when Chris Rock made a comment about, isn't Jada on television or something like that? And again, a comment. Some people have called her a narcissist when I guarantee I know most people have not met her. Some people have called Will Smith a narcissist and I guarantee you they have not met him. And all of us are going on subjective, hypothetical viewpoints of people we don't know. I get it. Right now, I'm listening to people criticize Jada for the way that she has abused Will, and I've heard that term, abused, in terms of having sex with August Alsina, I think that's his name, while he was living in their house, which is the classic porn scenario. Friend of the son stays over and the mother in the house and they get it on. Classic porn scenario. We don't know what that did to them as a couple. We don't know what their lives was before that. Yeah, we've heard about them being in an open marriage, but what does open marriage mean to them? We don't know. We're going on what open marriage means to us. And many of us have never even been in an open relationship to criticize someone who is. I watch people fuss with and argue with and scream at people who are in the polyamorous lifestyle when they've never been. How do you attack someone for their choices when it doesn't affect you? And these are the things that we have to talk about and deal with. So there's so much information there that to get caught up in just what happened. And then we also have to talk about the physical violence, the slap. And it is the butt of so many jokes. Lord, people do not waste time with creating more jokes when it comes to physical violence. but there's something to be talked about there too. Now, I have a real problem with that because what Will Smith did, now let me just say this. This is my own personal, and I don't care whether you agree with it, don't agree. I don't care if you rock with it, don't rock with it. Just hear me out. When you slap a man, you heard Charlie Murphy talk about this on Dave Chappelle. And I agreed with it then and I agree with it now because I've done it. When you slap a man, you are saying to him, I have no fear of you. And you are trying to embarrass him. You are trying to punk him. When you slap a man, when another man slaps a man, and you can put it in the chat if you want. You can tell me if I'm wrong. If you agree with me, say I agree in the chat. Put it in the Western. Say I agree. But when a man slaps another man, you are saying I have no fears of you and I don't respect you. That's one. You're going to get on live television over what wasn't the worst joke that you've heard about your wife. Now, I know it's probably, they talk about the straw that broke the camel's back. And the reason why they choose a straw is because they're saying that all the pressure and all the pain and everything else got to the point that just that tiny straw, that was it. That's where the term comes from, the straw that broke the camel's back, meaning that the camel was at max capacity and we dropped the straw on, that was it. So I get it. But from the time your wife gave you the face, Mr. Smith, and I've seen that face, you better take good at getting up in front of millions, climbing the steps in front of millions. You had an opportunity to think. Walking up to Brother Rock. And if you go back and play the video, Brother Rock was like, uh-oh, here come King Richard. So he's still not sure what's going on. He's thinking there's a joke going on. And right up until you raised your hand to strike that man, you had an opportunity to turn around, come back. You could even grab the mic, held it down, and said something to him, checked him right then and there if that's what you were going to do, and went back and sat down. The reason why I have a problem with what you did, sir, is because you put that man in a very bad situation because you are already in a very bad place yourself. And I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is how when we don't deal with pain, it hurts everybody. By not addressing whatever was wrong before he got out that seat, by not addressing it as he was walking up to Chris Rock, Will Smith got to a point that I teach kids and have for years. It's called the point of no return. The point of no return is it becomes harder to go back from that point than it is to go forward, which means you got to see it out. You got to see it through. And I teach kids, harder with adults, trust me. I teach kids to not get to that point because at that point, your decision has been made. So you walk up to this man, slap him, turn your back to him, walk back, sit down, and then continue. Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth, and you say it twice as if we didn't hear you the first time. That wasn't about Jada. You made it about you. You made it about your pain, and I get it. But the problem, guys, when a man slaps another man, you put Chris Rock in a position where everything could have went so bad for everybody. Because of what? So if Chris Rock takes that slap and goes, oh, hell no, and now it's on. So we have two of our better entertainers thugging it out on the stage. If Chris Rock's people in the audience goes, what the F was that? And now we possibly have something jumping off in the audience. If security takes this the wrong way, and now we have Brother Will Smith in it with security, possibly getting arrested on live television because you couldn't check you. And this is what we teach kids, right? We teach kids to think before they make poor decisions. So let's run this all back, right? Because like I said, how do we use this information? Does anybody know who won or what award was being given when Chris Rock was up? Questlove won an Oscar. We're not even talking about Brother Questlove winning an Oscar. Why? Because of this. Serena and Venus, who've been through hell, whose father you were representing, Brother Smith. No conversation about them, about the movie, because again, Will Smith stole all the air out of the room, out of the state, out of the arena, out of everything. Chris Rock too. Brother Will Packard, I had to learn his name from yesterday's video. Brother Will Packard put this together. So now, what's that say about using a man of color to orchestrate everything? So now he's hurt. But Brother Chris Rock is hurt even more. And I'm going to tell you why. The clowning that went on right after that, the videos, the memes, people are insensitive, as I just mentioned. You put a comedian in a position where if he now does what he's trained to do as a comedian, and that's do comedy, he's going to look and appear insensitive. But look at the position you put him in, because how many times is he going to have to answer, what did you feel? What did you think about the slap? Why didn't you do anything? What was your thoughts? He's going to have to keep answering that question in ad nauseum. You as well, Brother Smith. And the bigger thing, the biggest problem, you knew you were up for the Oscar, your first. You knew you had the inside track. You had already won the Golden Globes. And you chucked all that to the side to put your hands on a man because of a joke. Words. You're an actor. You put on different personas every time you're asked to. You couldn't act like nothing was bothering you and then dealt with that man in private. So now on the biggest night of your life, you turned it into the biggest night of your life for all the wrong reasons, as well as caused a lot of people to look at you differently, looked at your wife differently. And for all you people that's like, I want a man like that who's going to protect me, he didn't protect anything. He hurt himself and his wife. When you protect your wife, you protect her physically. Jada was in no danger physically. You protect her emotionally. Will could have comforted her. And you protect her spiritually if that's your connection. I didn't see any of that. But what happened now is the constant conversation about her hair. I saw somebody last night was even watching or posted a G.I. Jane video and everything. So Demi Moore will get some love for the next couple of weeks. But the criticism of Jada, the criticism of Will, the criticism of Brother Rock, it's going to be ongoing. The criticism of what the Oscars have become, the criticism of people of color, the criticism that it took Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington to try to calm Brother Smith down, but didn't talk to Brother Rock. We don't know that they didn't, but now it's going to be amped up. And here's what I really hate. You gave the haters, and I'm not going to make it a racial thing, but race does play a role in it. You gave the haters and the racists ammo to see. You see, when you give those Negroes money, how they act? And you tossed all that out the window to appease what? To protect your wife how? How is slapping Chris Rock going to protect your wife? And I don't have no problem if people come at me. You can come at me. Lord, I protected my wife many times. And yes, I've been in situations where I wanted to see somebody. But the reason why I wanted to see the man that I was going to put my hands on, not only was he blatantly disrespectful to my wife, he was blatantly disrespectful to me. And he didn't know who I was. Shout out to Shiz Hanley for saving a man's life. Yeah. If you know, you know. I'm not going to give names. I'm not going to put people's business out there like that. But Sean Hanley saved the man's life because I was coming to Long Island and I wasn't coming to talk. And Shiz said, nah, big dog, chill. Let me get this started. And then when I spoke to one of the young ladies that know the young man and she realized it was me on the phone, she said, oh, wait a minute, big dog. I didn't know it was you. I'll talk to him and I'll take care of that. So when you have people around you who know what you are, who know what you're capable of doing, they shut all that down before it even gets to that point. Goes back to the point of, Jada, how you let your man walk up there and throw it all away to do what? See, these are the conversations we have to have. And these are the conversations going forward we want to try to fix, because we're going to take more losses from Sunday. And as a professional counselor, as a person who invites people to come and share their stuff with me, I have to look at things like that. I have to look at it from very different viewpoints. I'm not always right. I go find information because I want to be knowledgeable. I don't always want to be right. I would love to be right all the time, but I'm not. But what I try to be is knowledgeable. I give knowledgeable information based on sound fact, not hypotheticals. I may ask hypothetical questions to trigger conversation, but my information that I give and the therapeutic techniques that I offer are based on fact. And you may say, well, how could it be based on fact if you're a Christian counselor? Well, to a Christian, my faith is factual to me. It don't have to be to you. And so when I'm dealing with somebody in that capacity, we have a mutual understanding of the faith and a mutual admiration and connection to the faith. So it is real to us. It does not have to be real to you. And hence, if I was dealing with you as a counseling client, I would not use scripture. There'd be no reason. You don't believe it. That is the reason why I talk to different people from different backgrounds. And I have friends that are atheists and friends who are devout Christians. And how I can deal with both is because I stand in the middle. So again, I'm going to ask you, how are you going to use the information from the other night? Or are we going to continue with just the endless stream of memes, the endless stream of jokes, the endless stream of insults to gain nothing? And before I go, to anybody that's dealing with their own personal situation, because one thing I missed, I forgot, and I want to say this too. Will Smith's abuse at the hands of his father is very real. Please go and watch The Best Shape of My Life on YouTube with Will Smith. And he's telling the story of what went on with his father. And it's him trying to get in shape. And it's him trying to finish up his autobiography. If you listen to him when he's explaining his father, it's difficult. If you listen to what he wanted to become as a father based on how he was with his father, it's difficult. If you watch the way his children react to him, seeing him emotional, you can tell that there's more there than they're letting on. And when you see the psychologist that travels with him explain some of the things that he's dealing with from her professional position, that should tell you something too. He's traveling with the psychologist. So before we criticize anyone, Jada as well, you can't say what Jada should feel about her hair. We can only go on what she has said about her hair. We don't know what she goes through being married to Will Smith, and we don't know what Will Smith goes through being married to Jada. We only know what they allow us to see. And then we can offer very faint criticism based on non-information. But one of the things that we do know is that the effects of abusive parent is real. The effects, the long-term effects of someone seeing a parent abusing another parent is real. How do I know? Shout out to my wife. She's watched her biological father abuse her mother. Well, that affects her. We talk about it now. Some of the things that we deal with in our marriage is connected to things she saw when she was coming up. And many of us are the products of things that we saw when we were younger. which affects how we do the things that we do. Now, hopefully, many of us got professional help if we needed it. But I've asked this question on social media too, is what stops people of color from coming and get professional help? And I know a lot of it is because of how we view professional help, professional mental health. This is why I work to create mental health ministries. If I can work with folks in the church and get the church to pay for it, to give people the help that they need, well, that's a start for me. And that's my area. But how are you dealing with your own pain? Because it's so easy to spend somebody else's money. And what I mean by that is it's so easy to watch Will and Jada and offer a criticism of people we don't know. It's easy. No repercussions. But how are you dealing with your own situations? Who are you talking to? How are you getting the help that you need? Does your church support you if you go to church? Does your pastor and leadership support you when you're in pain? How do you deal with your own marriage? How do you deal with being single? How do you deal with a husband who's abusive? How do you deal with a wife that was abusive? How do you deal with children who are been in bad relationships and now you come on the scene and try to be a part of their lives? Like, how do you deal with any of that? How do you deal when something that you said goes awry and a person takes it the wrong way? Are you quick to apologize, or are you about standing your ground because I said what I said? Period. Okay. Okay. The world we live in, guys, is growing colder and colder. And the people who are driving that movement are making millions of dollars and making people believe that that is the way life really is. It doesn't have to be. And yes, I may sound very Pollyannic. Look it up, as my man T to the Y says. I may sound very Pollyannic, but I don't give up hope of staying in that middle and having conversations with folks from both sides. Because if we give up the middle, then all we have left is war. Because people will fight to the death for what they conceive and perceive as truth. If I believe I am right, if I believe that what I think and feel is true, I will die for it and I will kill for it. And when there is no middle, there is no balance. It is about annihilation, because the only way to get someone else to submit is through assimilation. And nobody willingly assimilates if they believe they're right. We got a war going on right now where you can get glimpses of it. And it starts with not being able to have conversations, and it starts with not being able to respect someone else's position. So I don't know who needed to hear this today. I hope that you share this. I hope that you comment on this. And I also hope that you make a decision that if you need help, you reach out to me. If you want your church to have the type of ministries that you hear me talking about, reach out. I will speak to your pastor and see how we can set up mental health ministries, because people are hurting. And if you don't believe in any of this Christ stuff and any of this Christian stuff, and you're like, well, how can I get help? You reach out to. I'm here to listen to you as well. Because at the end of the day, because I'm a Christian, I have no problem sitting with you, talking with you, helping you. I don't have to believe the things you believe. But what I believe is that if you need help, you should get it. If you need protection, you should have it. Hence, if you're hungry, you should be fed. We can believe different things and still be okay with each other. See, that's the middle. That's the middle I fight for. So I'm going to get ready to go. I got some work to do today, and I want to say thank you to anyone watching. Again, please like this, please share this, please let people know I'm here. Word of mouth helps me tremendously. And I want to end with this, as I always do, and I want to have you check out my friend. Chef Danielle Moore on Facebook is the owner and operator of Ethel and Annie Mae's Soul Food Restaurant at 497 Albany Avenue in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. And she is working extremely hard to supply the needs of her community and meet the needs of her community and keep her doors open. I want us to support her. Why her? Because I know her personally. And I know not only does she care about her food, she cares about the people who walk through the door. And here's one thing that I can tell you about Ethel and Annie Mae's Soul Food is that I've been there now twice. And each time I come back to New York, I make sure I stop by and support. I've also purchased some things online. She makes fantastic cakes, by the way, cakes in a jar. But when I was there, I noticed the diversity of the people waiting in line. You've seen people from different persuasions coming to get her food. That says something. That's the middle. That's why I support her. She loves her people. Don't get me wrong. She's pro-black. But she understands that her food can be enjoyed by everyone. Now you may, well, how can she be pro-black but take care of everyone? Easy. She's looking to help her people get whatever they may be missing while still dealing with others respectfully. That's the middle I'm talking about. And I've watched people from different persuasions sit down and eat because it was the summertime last August and we were sitting outside. And I seen people of different persuasions sitting outside waiting to be served. My daughter was actually running around speaking to everybody. That's diversity. That's the middle I'm talking about. Food, comedy, music, literature, great conversation, great wine. Bring people to the middle. But we got to fight to stay there. So I want you to support Chef Danielle Moore on Facebook, Ethel and Annie Mae's Soul Food on Facebook and Instagram. Just look her up. And if you reach out to her, tell her that Keith KL sent you. Tell her that you saw my video and you want to check her out. I normally share some of her dishes. She has a lamb burger that's fantastic, turkey burgers that are fantastic, seafood mac and cheese that's fantastic, shrimp po' boy. She has it all. Check her out. Let's support her and keep those doors open. I got to get ready to go. I got some progress reports to do. I don't get paid if I don't turn these. Well, I get paid in various ways, but I have to turn in these progress reports. And again, if you need some help, my discovery link is in my bio. Don't struggle in silence because I honestly believe we can fix the things that are wrong. I do. We can fix this. We just have to commit to doing it. I want you to have a wonderful day, and I want to say thank you for taking the time out to listen to me. Have a wonderful day. God bless.